My clients have guests coming over tonight and they requested a steak and Caesar salad situation. So I cleaned my romaine lettuce, thoroughly rinsed multiple times to get rid of any dirt and bugs that might be hiding. Always spin and dry your lettuces. They'll last much longer, and also dressing will refuse to stick to your greens if they're even slightly wet. Covered in paper towels and into the fridge. Potatoes are always a must whenever they have steak. It is repetitive, but it's hard to beat a crispy roasted potato. As always, rinse to get rid of excess starch. Start in cold water so that the center cooks at the same time as the exterior. Seasoned heavily with salt, thyme, rosemary, and oregano. I like to drain them when they're basically at the brink of falling apart. I throw them into the fridge to let them cool and firm up. For parties like this, I always like to blanch my vegetables. When I have multiple things to worry about, I want my pickups to be as quick as possible, especially when I don't have extra hands to help. 2 of the guests will have broccoli and the other 3 will have broccolini. Croutons are a must for a Caesar salad, so I remove the crust from this loaf of sourdough and rip them up with my hands. I much prefer rustic croutons with lots of craggly bits as opposed to cleanly cut square ones for salad. I melted butter with some pressed garlic and let that gently cook together to infuse, and added a bit of the salmoriglio sauce to give it some brightness. Toss with the croutons and let that bake until buttery, garlicky, and crispy, leaving them on a paper towel to soak up any excess butter. Once in a while, my clients will give me a recipe that they want to try, and this one was a pumpkin seed Caesar dressing. The recipe called for fresh lemon juice, raw garlic, Dijon mustard, pumpkin seeds. Then I moved it to the blender because this little thing was definitely not going to be strong enough. Olive oil and a bit of water to thin it out. I ended up adding a lot more lemon juice and water to it because the recipe was just way too thick and kind of one note. It was a weird recipe and it didn't even have Parmesan cheese in it, but I decided to trust the process. Just kidding, I couldn't trust this process, so I grated a whole bunch of Parmesan to toss with the salad later. For the steak sauce, we didn't have any open bottles of red wine, but we did have this sweet Concord grape wine left over, so I decided to use that. My clients do prefer their red wine sauces a bit on the sweeter side, so this was perfect. I added garlic, onions since I didn't have shallots, thyme, and let that reduce and infuse. Once the harsh flavor and smell of alcohol was gone, I added veal stock and let that reduce again. 4 of them wanted fillets, but one of them requested a chicken paillard, so I butterflied, pounded, and marinated the breast with the garlic herb marinade and salt. Nice and simple. With about an hour until the guests arrive, I tossed the chilled potatoes with the remaining garlic butter from the croutons, put them on a sheet pan and into the oven to roast. With the sauce beautifully reduced down, I strained the aromatics out and got it ready to finish. Remember to flip your potatoes halfway through to ensure even browning. The guests have arrived and got these little caviar plates with creme fraiche and buttered toast points to enjoy. And now it's time to finish cooking. I grilled the fillets and chicken, charred the broccolini, hitting the broccolini with fresh lemon juice while they're hot, and some grated Parmesan. Finished the sauce with knobs of cold butter to thicken and give it a rich mouthfeel. And to plate, for our child guest, she got the grilled chicken paillard, avocado rose, and some steamed broccoli. And for the adults, charred lemony Parmesan broccolini, roasted potatoes, and I tossed the romaine lettuce and croutons with the dressing, a ton of Parmesan cheese, and some more lemon juice. Sauce the steaks, plate the salad, a bit more parm and croutons, and off they go. This is a long day as a personal chef in Beverly Hills. As you know, Fridays tend to be my busiest work days because I cook them lunch, dinner, and also do meal prep for their weekend. For lunch, they requested branzino, so I quickly broke them down. Pretty clean cut, not bad. If you're wondering why I always have a cup of water when I'm removing the bones, it's because the water helps the bones fall right off the tweezers. Nice and easy. Seasoned with salt, olive oil, and rubbed with a little lemon juice and thyme until it's time to cook. Let me show you the size of this massive avocado. Trust me, I've got a massive Korean head, so that should tell you how big this is. This, by the way, is a reed avocado. They're larger than the typical Hass avocados that most people know. I get a good amount of people saying that these aren't roses, but I'm still gonna call them avocado roses. I don't care. I've got a small amount of a variety of vegetables that I want to use up before leaving for the weekend. First vegetables are these heirloom carrots that I peel and cut into obliques. Add water, salt, some honey, covered and into the oven to soften. Then I broke down these patty pan squashes, tossed in olive oil and into the oven. Once the carrots get soft, I drain them, toss with a bit more honey, and back into the oven to caramelize. I cut the tips off the asparagus because they look nice, and just diced the stalks to make them easier to eat. I had a few sugar snap peas left, so I removed the strings and cut them into these cute little triangles. For our mixed veg medley, I start off by sauteing the asparagus tips and then adding the stalks and the sugar snap peas. Season with salt, gently cook before adding crushed garlic, just barely taking the raw edge off the vegetables. Then I like to throw them onto a paper towel to drain any excess oil and finish with some fresh lemon juice. Everything else is done, so it's time to grill the branzino. It literally takes 5 minutes on the grill. To plate lunch, I spooned the lemony vegetables, avocado rose, and the branzino. A nice healthy lunch. After serving them lunch, for their weekend I prepped a niçoise salad for him and a Chinese chicken salad for her. He wanted grilled salmon for his salad and she requested salmon salad. For the salad, I combined mayo, Dijon mustard, relish, dill, baked salmon, chopped celery, lemon juice, and a bit more relish since she does like it a bit sweeter. I almost always cook them a whole chicken to enjoy over the weekend as well, which I broke down, removed all the bones, pan-seared, and thrown in the oven to finish. They also requested spaghetti and meatballs, so I made a panade with almond milk and the white bread I had left over from the caviar toast. Milk can sometimes be hard on my client's stomach, so that's why I went with almond milk. Then I added eggs, grated parm, Italian seasoning, and chiffonade basil. I know a lot of people like to have majority meat in their meatballs for maximum meatiness. My clients actually prefer a really tender, soft meatball that basically falls apart in your mouth, which is why it's almost 40% panade. Personal preference. The meat mixture, by the way, is ground pork, veal, and beef in equal amounts. For the sauce, I sweat down chopped onions and a bit of olive oil, add in tomato paste, always making sure to fry them in the oil and caramelize them. Then once it's almost there, add in pressed garlic, toast, add the blended San Marzano tomatoes, and just let that cook for a few hours. I cooked them some pasta, drained, and rinsed in cold water to stop the cooking. I also do this so the pasta won't stick. Only do this if you're eating them the next day. Otherwise, please don't rinse your pasta. You'll lose all that wonderful starch. I add an Italian seasoning to the sauce, a pinch of baking soda to neutralize some of that acid, and let that continue simmering. Scoop the meatballs, and this time I tried throwing them straight into the sauce. I've always browned them, but I've been told to throw them straight in if you want the most tender meatballs. After about 40 minutes, I turned off the heat, added fresh basil, and put the balls and sauce in Tupperware for them to eat tomorrow. My clients actually ended up liking the balls that were simmered in the sauce without browning a lot more than the usual browned ones. And finally for dinner, they requested the grilled chicken paillard with the last of the salmoriglio sauce, tomato cucumber arugula salad, tossed in a balsamic dressing. A lot of cooking done today. Excited for the weekend. This is what I made as a personal chef in Beverly Hills. I started my day off by removing the string from the sugar snap peas, cutting them on a bias so they look pretty, and blanching them in heavily salted water. We've been getting a lot of string beans from the farmer's market, so I decided to make a nice string bean salad. I trimmed off the tough stems and blanched those in salted water as well. Just enough to take the raw edge off, keep their beautiful color, and also season the inside. They asked for barbecue grilled chicken, so I let them marinate in a mix of barbecue sauce, garlic powder, onion powder, and smoked paprika. I grilled them hard at the beginning to get a nice char and moved them to indirect heat. Continued to glaze them with more barbecue sauce and let it slowly finish cooking. It's a very hot summery day, so I wanted the string bean salad to be creamy, sweet, tangy, and punchy. I combined mayo, Dijon mustard, rice wine vinegar, honey, lemon juice, and celery salt. Basically a coleslaw dressing. I combined the string beans, sugar snap peas, the dressing, seasoned with salt, and after tasting it, it felt a little texturally flat, so I chopped some of these juicy raisins from the farmer's market for pops of sweetness, and chopped some toasted cashews for more texture and nuttiness. Texture is just as important as flavor. I cut a piece of the barbecue chicken to make sure it was tasty, and yep, pretty tasty. To plate, I put a base of barbecue sauce, put the cut chicken thighs and breast on top, roasted patty pan squash for veg, and a ramekin full of the string bean salad. A nice, easy, summery lunch for a hot day. This is what I made as a personal chef in Beverly Hills. My days always start with grocery shopping. Depending on whatever I'm cooking, I'll have to visit up to 3 markets before I actually head to my client's house. Unfortunately for me, I had to go to 2 this morning. Whole Foods was out of branzino, so I headed over to Bristol Farms. They actually sell the largest branzino out of all the supermarkets. First thing I did when I got to their home was rinse some rice until the water ran clear and let it drain. I sweat down some diced onions and olive oil, added in grated garlic, and let that toast. To the drained rice, I added cumin and turmeric and mixed to coat the rice. Then added the seasoned rice to the garlic and onion mixture, gently toast, and add chicken stock. Using the finger method to measure the amount of liquid. Brought to a boil, covered, and into the oven to cook. I wanted some sort of bright salad component as the sauce for the branzino, so I pitted these Tajasca olives by pushing down on them to easily pull the pit out. If you haven't had Tajasca olives before, they are these small Italian olives that are slightly fruity, mild, a little bit sweet, and not too bitter. They're delicious. I chopped them up alongside these Kalamata olives. I added some diced shallots, pickled red onions alongside the liquid for sweetness and acidity, and some quarter cherry tomatoes. This will be a nice bright and sweet salad for the branzino. I haven't sharpened my deba in a while, so I hit the stone a few times before breaking down the branzino. I quickly broke them down and cut the skinny tail sides off for my lunch. Bristol Farms branzinos are a bit too large for my clients, which is bad for them, but good for me. Seasoned simply with my client's favorite blend of salt, onion powder, and garlic powder. I get some hate for using dried herbs and spices, but unless you're the one paying my bills, I'm gonna keep cooking to my client's preferences. After cooking the rice for 25 minutes and letting it steam for 20 minutes, I give it a quick fluffing and let it sit until it's time to serve. We got some skinny asparagus from the farmer's market, so instead of peeling them like I usually do, I just hit them with a little olive oil, salt, and into the broiler to cook quickly. I pat dry the branzino and get them ready to be seared. If you're having trouble with your fish skin sticking to your pan, one of the reasons is probably because the skin isn't dry enough. So always give them a quick pat with paper towel before cooking. It'll also lessen the amount of oil splatters. You'll also want to gently press down on the fillet so that the skin crisps out evenly. They do have a tendency to curl up. At the beginning, just let them gently cook without trying to move them, and once the skin gets crispy, it'll detach on its own. The more you try to force it at the beginning, the higher the chance that you're going to mangle your fish. Just be a little patient. I like to cook them almost 80% on the skin side, just a quick flip onto the flesh side, and then pull off the heat. Dry overcooked branzino is criminal. Straight to jail. And I always drop my seared proteins onto a paper towel to absorb any excess oil. To plate, I spoon the olive, tomato, pickled red onion salad on the bottom, place the fish on top, a little bit of that cumin turmeric rice, roasted asparagus that I hit with a little lemon juice, and off they go. Nice and simple. If you look quickly, you'll see that one of them asked for spinach instead of asparagus, which I will always happily oblige. This is another long day as a personal chef in Beverly Hills. My clients are having guests tonight and they requested roasted chicken with the peach balsamic sauce. We are nearing the end of stone fruit season, so had to get it in one last time before they're gone. The day before, I broke down the chicken chicken, debone the thighs, and I always eat the wings since we don't serve them. Chef snacks. I season the chicken with salt and herbes de Provence. Let that dry brine and marinate overnight. Herbes de Provence is a French mix of dried herb, usually a combination of thyme, basil, rosemary, tarragon, savory, marjoram, and although not traditional, sometimes lavender. It's basically the perfect roasted chicken herb mixture. One of my clients wanted eggs for lunch while the other ate light vegetable soup, so I chopped carrots, celery, zucchini, gently simmered in chicken stock, and some herbs. Now that it's lunchtime, I fry up their eggs and toast and serve with a small cup of warm soup. I boil these baby mixed potatoes the day before as well, then smash them flat. The reason why I smash them is to increase surface area, and also when they bake, the crackly edges get nice and crispy. I want to make a mustardy sauce for the potatoes, so I sweat the diced shallots in olive oil with a bit of salt. Once they've sweated down, I toast the grated garlic and add Dijon mustard and whole grain mustard, then deglaze with white wine. For the peach balsamic sauce, I do the same process as the mustard sauce, sweat shallots in olive oil with a bit of salt, toast garlic, add in chopped rosemary, and deglaze with red wine. Once the harshness of the alcohol is burned off, I add in balsamic vinegar and saba. I've explained this once before, but in case you missed it, saba is cooked down grape must. Grape must is basically just crushed grapes, skin, seeds, and all. Saba is what balsamic vinegar is before it is aged and turned into vinegar. So saba doesn't have the acidity that balsamic vinegar has, but it does have a wonderful fruity sweetness that is great for the sauce. Then I add some chicken stock and just let that reduce. I added a few of those nectarines because I wanted them to cook down and flavor the sauce. The potatoes will take a while, so I coat it in olive oil, lay on a sheet pan, and throw them into the oven at 400 degrees to bake. Always flip your roasted potatoes halfway through so that all sides end up equally golden brown and crispy. An hour before the guests arrive, I pre-sear the chicken. For dinner parties, you should always pre-sear if you can. It'll save you a lot of time and trouble when it's time to serve. Just golden brown and crisp, but still raw on the inside. The guests have arrived, so I finished plating up their caviar platters with all the accoutrements and 2 ounces of Ossetra caviar per couple. Meter sent me this cool wireless thermometer, so I tried it out for the first time. Just stuck it in and into the oven to finish cooking. At this point, the balsamic sauce has reduced down and is basically done. I cook it down until it's thick, tangy, and sweet. Then I throw in all the peaches and nectarines and let it gently simmer. Now for the mustard sauce, with all the harsh alcohol smell and flavor evaporated, I throw in cubes of butter to essentially make a mustard beurre blanc, finished with fresh dill, chives, and fresh lemon juice. Always using the 2-spoon tasting technique. It's mustardy, tangy, herbaceous, and it's so good with crispy potatoes. I finished the peach sauce with just a little bit of butter to give some shine, richness, and body, and once the butter is all emulsified, throw in the chiffonade basil off heat just to let it infuse. And for the veg, I hard saute the French green beans and sugar snappies. Season with salt, and once the beans have a little color, I add in shallots and garlic just to toast and coat. Finally, to plate, I give each guest a bit of breast and thigh, toss the crispy potatoes with the herby mustardy butter sauce, and plate. Add the garlicky green beans, and of course, the gently cooked peaches and lots of that balsamic sauce on top of the chicken. I didn't record it, but I also made them the very popular fudgy chocolate brownie cake, heated up so it's extra fudgy, and simply plated with vanilla ice cream. Then after all that, it's time for me to clean up. I did the dishes, cleaned the surfaces and the electric stove tops, took out the trash, and headed home. Thank God it's Friday.